thank you so much for coming out. I knew there would be a good turnout because I knew that um, there's way more good people than bad people and the people that killed. I remember and were dying. So I knew in my heart, just like I knew the night of April 14th, but the story was not true. I knew what they were saying, what the police were saying about Lindani was not true. I know people that knew him, and I didn't have to know people that knew him. We know what happened. We don't have to vouch. We don't have to ask more questions. We don't need a perfect victim. But it turns out he was a perfect victim anyway. He was one of the sweetest, kindest, most amazing people. So, but he didn't need to be. No one deserves that, right? It's like, but it just so turns out that what they said wasn't true. Just bear with me. One of my really good friends says that grief is a collective act, and I'm pretty shy, and I don't like speaking in crowds, but I know that we need to get together. I know that we need to witness each other's pain and trauma, and we need to speak the truth together. It's very healing. So that's why I'm going through this. I'm inspired by Kylie Akiona, who's also taught. She inspired me. She showed me the ropes. When my Hui, Justice for Lindani, we wanted to get involved. She taught me how to use these open and complicated systems. And we laughed about it, and we cheered each other on, and she's half my age. I can't even look at her because I'll cry. She's half my age, but she's a mentor of mine, and it's really meaningful what she's doing. She's really brave, speaking out when, it's pretty scary to criticize the cops, especially when they're in your family, also in my family as well, so we shared, also we bonded over a shared stand of Haley Osorio, so that's also a fellow brave soul who inspires us. So yeah, we're here together to tell South Africa as well that we're going to do the right thing by Lindani. We're telling the Miani family that we know the truth, and we're going to keep fighting for the truth for Lindani. We keep fighting for accountability, arrests, convictions, and then whatever else is happening. Bestie, how much support we have. So after Lindani was murdered by HPD, the U.S. News did not pick up the story. HPD knew the truth that night. They saw the video cameras. They saw what we just saw on Tuesday. How could you see that and then say that he was a burglar? They know he wasn't a burglar. How could you back these police? You know why? Because they thought we would never see the video. They held the video, which they've been doing for a long time. They held it. They didn't think. They underestimated us. We're tired of this now. We're ready. We've been protesting more. We're ready. And so, when they lie and then they say awful things about a good person, it's an additional injustice. So those of you that have spoken out on social media and you've talked to your family members and you've said, hey, this doesn't add up. This doesn't sound right. I've learned about this family. I've read about him in the papers in South Africa. I've learned about South African culture. And, this doesn't add up. And then you realize, you look at the evidence and you realize, yeah, this was a setup and cold-blooded murder. And they're not remorseful either. It's disgusting. So I'm going to end by saying there's so much to learn about Lindani. There's so many cool things to know. He was a Boy Scout. You'll see it. You'll see it in the news. But I don't know if you know he had an amazingly beautiful voice. And if you check out, he auditioned for Idol South Africa, and it's one of my favorite songs too. And I am not a singer, but I'm going to do something uncomfortable for me that I've been practicing for a while, getting out of my comfort zone, and it's because there's a song that makes me think of what they did to him and what the cops and the politicians who don't care do to these victims and their family members. They when they slander their names, and then the elected officials, like everybody, the state officials, all the way up to President Biden, no one has said anything. No one's even acknowledged this incident. And the entire country of South Africa, and they had a state funeral for him. What did HPD do on the day of his state funeral? They held a rally for support, and they knew it was intentional to try to intimidate us and scare us. And it's evil. So there's an activist I admire. She's a singer, a folk singer. So you're going to get a little folk music right now. And I'm going to ask that you do it with me. Right? We're going to do this grieving together, and we're going to... if you could look up the song, How Could Anyone? It's very short lyrics, very short. It's like a poem. If you want to sing along with me, I really hope you will. We're singing it on behalf of Lindani Mieni and I Remember Psychout. Oh yeah, well, it's called How Could Anyone? Yeah, by Libby Roderick. And she wrote this in the 80s during the AIDS epidemic because of the injustice that was done with that as well. So, but the lyrics really apply. I'll read them first. They really apply. I think when I read them, you'll understand where I'm going with this. How could anyone do what they did and then say that these people's lives didn't matter? So I'll read it. How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving was a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. I'm going to sing it. Now it might take a minute for you guys to jump in. I am not a singer. How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving was a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. Okay, we got it? Yeah. Let me just do it a couple more times. Yeah, I want to hear it louder though. With you guys, okay. Because it's short. How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving was a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your love